Good morning, welcome back. It's beautiful to have you here on the show. Karibu sana. My name is Victor Olo. As always, the viewpoint is on. All right, so today let's talk about issues that's affecting us, geopolitically speaking. Let's talk about money, let's talk about economy, let's talk about politics, let's talk about, yes, education as well. So let's start where it should, where we all know that the president is away on a 4-day official tour in China, and already there is a deal out of that country. 130 billion shillings. We'll be taking a look at that and what's in the bag for the president when he comes back to the country. And number two, let's also talk about the issue to the counties. The governors yesterday said that there is a clawback when it comes to devolution. Certain factions are supposed to be devolved, and that was promised by the national government, and they say they need more money. We've talked about this issue for over and over again, but there is no harm in talking about it. But I want us to dig deeper and understand what really is happening when it comes to letting go of some of the functions to the counties, and why there is a bit of some sluggishness, so to speak, when it comes to taking money or allocating money to the counties. And my able guests are already in studio. I have got Daniel Orogo, who is a political analyst, a gentleman, sharp brain, not new to Jerusalem. Daniel, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
Mwalimu Wilson Sosion, former NATSEC Gen and a nominated member of parliament, is also in studio.
Good
Mwalimu,
morning.
good morning.
Good morning.
Teachers set to get new allowances in proposed law. Are you happy?
Yes, anything progressive that is going to advance the teaching profession is a good thing.
And it says that teachers to get new allowances proposed law, and teachers fight back in row over 25,000 promoted tutors or tutors.
Well, there are concerns that the 25,000 teachers who were promoted was not properly done. There are a lot of questions that are unanswered, and this puts the employer on the spot in how it does its own things. And I agree, because the moment Teacher Service Commission vacated promoting teachers in accordance with the Code of Regulations and the provisions of Article 72 to 74 of the Code of Regulations, then the tools they are using are wrong.
So there was
and the method they are using. You can't interview over 100,000 teachers only to promote 25,000. It doesn't work that way. Some of the aspects of promotion should be granted automatically based on the number of years a teacher has served, based on the new higher qualifications a teacher is acquiring, and also based on merit. So that then those positions that are dovetailed towards administrative positions can remain for interview.
Okay.
So I think there's a whole dirty approach to the promotion of teachers.
But Parliament says that it
by
was
the
fair
Teacher Service
and transparent.
It's the same Parliament that raised a lot of concerns.
All right. We'll talk about that. All right. And I also have Jacob Mutula. He's an advocate of the High Court, an activist and economic advisor. Good morning, Mutula.
Good morning.
Karibu sana to the program.
Asante sana.
Okay, let's start where we should. Gentlemen, I think, Jacob, let me start with you. The entire world is mourning, passing on of Pope Francis, just hours on the day of eve of Easter Monday, and here we are. What would you make of the Pope's passing on? Just in 1 minute, if you can. Go ahead.
Really, we extend our condolences to the Christian fraternity and to the Catholic fraternity throughout the world. A loss of a leader is really a big loss to humanity. And he was a revolutionary pope, down to earth, very accommodative, very progressive. And really, we extend our condolences, as we say, to the church and the entire Christian fraternity.
All right. Okay, so, Mwalimu, again, You're a Catholic?
I'm not a Catholic.
Okay.
Yes.
All right,
but I know
the entire world is mourning, of course.
we joined.
You visited the country 10 years ago.
Yes, I visited the country 10 years ago for a visit to the country. And for me, I joined the entire Catholic fraternity across the world in mourning the Pope. And you know, this is one Pope who chose a name of Francis, St. Francis of Assisi, and he associated with fighting for the poor, the downtrodden, and the rejected in the society. At some point, he was criticized of being cozy with homosexuals, but he said,
yes.
These are humans. If they come to God, and they're welcomed. I think this is one great Pope in the Catholic Church who really brought in a new approach to looking at things within the church. So I am sure the next Pope will be picking from the philosophy of Pope Francis and lead the Catholic Church to the next dispensation.
Yeah. Daniel, what should you make of him? I mean, people say that he gave a different approach to when it comes to leadership of the Catholic Church. And even when he came to Kenya, remember he met other leaders from other denominations, Christians, I mean non-Catholics, and other leaders from other faiths. I mean, this was unprecedented. And at some point, he also, was not in good books with other people across the world. Some of the leaders who are supporting other ways of governance.
Well, I think, like the rest of my colleagues have mentioned, is to send a condolences message to the whole faithful fraternity. And I think, like you've mentioned, Pope Francis the late was not specific in associating with certain people only. In fact, he has been headlined as a people's Pope, and a Pope that was pro-poor, and like has been mentioned, he was a reformist in his papal responsibilities, and identified with the downtrodden. In fact, I think reading through a number of publications this morning that has outlined how he rejected, the facilities that he thought that were used by the rich. I mean, you could even see the life that Pope Francis lived, Victor. Some of these things he rejected, what was offered to him, the choice of the car he would use to travel was that small Ford. You remember when he came here, he rejected, his, Pope Palace at Vatican City, and opting to stay in a hotel. Those are hallmarks of one who just identified and wanted to live a simplified life. He stepped here at JKIA with a rosary in his hand. Like people were asking, really, what are we seeing? It was out of, a surprise. Like people would really expect the heads of state. And remember, that is a head of state because Vatican is considered as a nation city. And that is why you see him also being accorded a number of, diplomatic, acceptance. He has a place at the UN Security Council as one of the, veto power there. And so apart from that, he was both, a leader of the global faith, but he was also a leader, of a nation that has been accorded, a full diplomatic, treatment. But that being said, we want to focus on, the reform and how people saw him when he came here in 2015, being his first maiden visit to African continent and the African soil, on his way to Uganda and Central African Republic. I think that you could remember very well.
Yes.
And he gave us, the university dais that has now become a monumental, just here, outside here, that can now be recognized as one of the UNESCO, sites and a monumental that is very important. I think you also remember his message at the University of Nairobi, acknowledging and, you know, beseeching university students, you know, to provide hope in terms of being the beacons of Pan-Africanists,
yeah,
but also in calculating the values, you know, that are faith, that are faith-driven. So I think I really beckon, because then that is where he has joined. You know, he's. They're saying that he has joined the father of the house, the house of the father, which means he has transitioned to glory. But much more is it time? Because it's a politics. Is it time to think about the African Pope?
That's how the
you know, that is also something that we need to be thinking about.
Of the Standard.
Unfortunately, Kenya will not be participating.
Okay.
Because of various reasons. So
okay, raise the Standard newspaper.
Yeah, I think it's on the first page here.
There we have it.
Yeah.
Daniel's camera. Time for Africa on the front page of the Standard.
Yes.
That is something to do with the rotation, and there is that sense of it. But you see, there's no campaign about this.
I mean, if it's for
there is no
if it was
campaign.
for Pope Francis that we had first Pope out of Europe, for the first time in history, why then would we not have a Pope from Africa? We have Africans here who had been Cardinal Robert Sarah from Guinea, Cardinal Peter Turkson from Ghana, who is 76 years old, Cardinal Fridolin Ambogo from Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Yes.
Kenya would not be participating on this papal conclave as headlined because our Cardinal John Joe is 81 years and it's only up to 80 years. So unfortunately, in East Africa, Kenya would not be participating on that.
All right, very good. So let's devolve and come back home. So